Stephanie Clark, welcome to Women Investor Tuesday.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
We usually have this on Wednesday. So it's
Okay.
usually called Women Investor Wednesday. Oh, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. But let's see. But I'm going to see Diana Ross tomorrow night. So
Woo! Awesome.
she's 80. I can't wait to hear her voice.
Yeah.
So we had to move Women Investor Wednesday to Women Investor Tuesday.
All right. Sounds good. Glad to be here.
So you're based in the San Francisco region. You told me nearby Napa, right?
Yeah, about 15 minutes outside of Napa. Yep. Northern California.
And tell everyone what you used to do for a living.
Well, I was a school teacher for nearly 30 years. Most of that time, third grade, and the last 10 years of that, fifth grade. Yep.
Well, thank you for being a teacher. We need good ones.
Yes.
And so we were joking earlier on the call because you're like, I'm too young to be retired, but I think should I go get a job? And you and I both at the same time said, you do have a job. You manage multiple real estate. So
right.
So can we start from the beginning? So What was the first investment you made? And did you do it while you were a teacher, or did you retire from teaching and then get into investing?
Okay, so that great question. So the first purchase I made it wasn't an investment. It was my own house. It was a 3-bedroom townhouse, and it was about 2 blocks from the school where I worked. So I made that purchase, and that particular purchase was just with money that I had saved, right? I was a renter, and that was money I had saved. And that was probably about, I want to say more like 20 years ago. So I was teaching already. I was already in that district. I was already renting, and it just seemed like a really good idea to get started. So that 3-bedroom stayed with me, all the time. And then what happened was I started getting kind of antsy. I had been teaching for a long time. My youngest twins were getting middle school age, and I wanted to do something different. So I started researching properties in the Bay Area, which led to the only place being reasonable in the Bay Area was Vallejo. At that time, I was living in San Leandro. Let me back up. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, and the only place that I've lived in the Bay Area is San Leandro. So this was going to be a big step for me to move out of San Leandro. So what happened was I found a couple multi-unit properties. Actually, the first one I found that I liked, I found it on Zillow, and I had an address for it. And so that brought me out here to Vallejo. Then I actually started driving go ahead.
So I know you're with Keller Williams. So
yes.
When you started looking for properties, did you have your real estate license or not yet?
Oh, no, not yet. My real estate license didn't come until 2019. It's only been 5 years. So I was definitely a real estate investor before ever getting a realtor's license.
So what year were you on Zillow looking for properties?
I was on Zillow looking for properties in 2017.
And you were still with the school system or not?
Still with the school system. I was in San Leandro at that time. So San Leandro Unified.
Okay.
And then I said, we're going to do it. We're going to move to Vallejo. So in
Why did you want? So were you looking for a place to move into and live?
No, already we had a family friend who had a home in Vallejo that was paid for free and clear. And so that was a great foundation because I was able to just move my family to that particular house. Now, it wasn't in the best neighborhood. Let me say that. It was not in the best neighborhood. But it did have a big gate around it, and that made it doable. So the family moved, and when we moved in June at the end of the school year, we moved there in 2017. And that was great because then guess what? We Airbnb'd the townhouse.
Wow.
And that gave us funds to work with.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So now you're living at a family friend's house, free and clear.
In Vallejo. And so now because we're there, I can drive the neighborhoods.
Gotcha.
So I'm driving the neighborhoods. The whole idea to go to Vallejo was because we could purchase in Vallejo and we can get a good deal in Vallejo because, unfortunately, Vallejo had a bad rap. Beautiful families here, beautiful people here, but they had closed down Mare Island, which had employed over 5,000 people, 5,000 families. And then, at one point they had been bankrupt, the police department and the fire department, right? So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you Airbnb, you're starting to get some cash flow from that investment.
Yep, cash flow.
So now you are on Zillow and you find a multifamily deal.
Find a multifamily. It's 4:00 in the morning. I can't sleep and I'm on Zillow. I find a multifamily. I love it. I drive that morning about 6. I drive to go see where it is. Absolutely fall in love with it. See the potential, and write an offer. And I'm not an agent at this time, but
wait. How many units was it? Did you say it was
triplex?
A triplex. So
triplex.
Okay, so triplex, and but you didn't get in it at 6 in the morning. You just drove by it.
Just drove by it. Didn't even get in it, but just knew. So had a realtor friend at that time. And I didn't really understand real estate as from the realtor sense at that point, right. But had a realtor friend. Had $5,000 cash, right? They always use that term, how much skin is in the game, right? So this property is like 362, something like that. And I give him a check for 5,000. I was like, that's what we could put down. That's it, And he's like, I don't know. And honestly, the gentleman accepted the offer, and
that's crazy.
I know. How
long was it on the market for?
It had been on the market for, I want to say, about 120 days.
Okay, so he was like, okay, I've got a live body. Who cares about the down payment? Now, did you how did you finance it? Were you going to go to a bank?
So for that one, what I ended up doing was I took some equity out of the townhouse. So that's how that happened. I took equity out of the townhouse so that I could go ahead and get financed for that one. Mm-hmm.
So remind everyone what you bought the townhouse for.
The original price?
Yeah.
The original price of the townhouse was $267,000.
And then when you were getting ready to take equity out, what was the value? What did it balloon to at that point?
Well, I hadn't been in it I had been in it for a while. So it was like $490.
So did you buy it for the triplex for $362?
Yep. Bought it for $362 for asking.
And you got and you paid for it out of the equity of the townhouse.
Paid for it out of the equity of the townhouse. Yep.
So now basically you got a HELOC that you were paying interest on, but you were getting cash flow from
cash flow. Now it's interesting because it's a triplex, right? But let me tell you, something really weird happened. So I'm getting cash flow from 2 of the 3 units. One of the units, the tenants, their son had he had gotten into an automobile accident, like right as we were closing. And so and he passed. So that put them in it was very hard for them. It was very hard for them. So I ended up letting them stay there for another, I want to say it was 2 months, almost 3 months. And they were not paying any rent. All their money had gone toward, expenses and whatnot. I even remember, a couple of days we brought food over, to them. So now this is my first investment of that type, right? And I'm going, whoa, it was a lot. But eventually they were able to move on.
Oh,
And then that unit that they were in, I remodeled that unit and then rented it for top dollar.
how much did you have to put in for remodeling?
For the unit or for the whole building?
For, well, how much? Yeah, how much did you invest? So there were 3 units.
There were 3 units, so I would say about it was not that much, maybe about 12,000.
Oh, good. Okay. And
Yeah.
then what was the market rent before the renovation, and what were you able to get after the renovation?
Okay, so what they had been there, all tenants have been there a long time. They were all paying 1,500, and then there was a studio they were paying 11. So after it was 2,300, 2,200, and 1,600 for the studio.
And you're not a realtor, you're a newly retired teacher.
Yes.
I mean, at any time, I mean, this is just the best success story ever for the first deal. Did at any time were you scared? Like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm a third grade teacher.
Well, I should have been scared, but because I had taught for so long and I had kind of been in prayer, like, I need something new. I want to do something different. And when something different presented itself, there was no going back. Like let me give you an example. When I found out that I could move to this home and be there at this home, kind of keeping it so quote unquote safe, right away I put my unit, my townhouse, on Airbnb, and immediately I got a long-term nurse who rented it for like 3 months. So there was no going back. You understand what I'm saying?
And you're like, I can't go back. I've leased my house.
Exactly. And so I guess in a way,
so there was an angel pushing you.
There was an angel pushing me. It was summer, right? Summer was just starting. So just the timing was great.
So do you know the Blueprint Tour Kenny?
No, I don't think so.
So the Blueprint Tour Kenny says, Twitter is awesome. I love this community here, sharing so much. You rock, y'all rock, Beth and Stephanie. And then he said, when I said, you offered 5,000 down, he goes, nice. The worst they can do is say no at its finest.
That's it. Okay,
I mean, so how do you still own that triplex?
No, just recently, December 27th, we closed on that one. We sold that particular property. We and the reason why we sold it is because things had changed with the neighborhood, and there had become a big problem of I don't know if they do it around there, but drifting, which is basically when the kids get together and they do donuts in the street.
No, we don't have that.
Oh, good. They call it sideshows out here, but yeah.
We have a very strict governor, and you do not. We will get into the politics of that.
Okay. Well, wonderful. So so just recently, but for a nice profit. And so
what can you share? Like I know you bought it for 362. Can you share what you sold it for?
It was like 790.
Yeah. Good job. Now, did you add another unit to that property?
Yes, we added
when did you do that? How soon after purchase did you add another? And was it in the yard? Where in the garage?
Garage.
Okay.
So 2017 was the purchase. So 2018 was the other unit that was added. And it was basically a converted garage. So what needed to be done, there was already water in there, so which was nice. So basically, it just needed a kitchenette, flooring, insulation, and a bathroom.
Amazing. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about number 2. What was the next one you bought, and how soon? So you bought this one in 17. Yeah. When did you buy the next one?
The next one in the end of 17. Oh my God, it was kind of a back-to-back situation. So the next one was about 6 blocks from that one, and it was a duplex. So and the first one was built in the 50s. The next one was built in like 89, right? So you're like, woo, okay, nice, new, right? And that one was 475K. One side was a three bedroom, two bath. The other side was a 3 bedroom, two bath, but they had converted the garage to a studio with a bathroom, right? So that was nice. So
So
basically,
how did you get the money to buy this one?
okay. So the money to buy this one also came for the down payment, also came from the funds from the first from that I took out from
In the
the
HELOC.
yeah.
So, okay. And was it another 5,000 or this one you offered a little more on the down
Yeah,
payment?
no, this one, this one, the down payment ended up being total down payment was like 125.
Okay. And then how did you finance the rest of the 475?
This one was hard money.
Oh my gosh. How high was the rate?
Uh, I thought it wasn't that bad, but it was like around, I want to say like 14.
Yeah, I was going to say 15. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and did you at some point pay those people off?
Yeah, that was a whole doozy of a situation. Yeah. Yeah. So one unit was absolutely beautiful. It didn't need to, nothing needed to be done because um, a family had built that property basically. And so, and they had returned, they went back to Mexico. So basically no one was living in it. And they had tried to rent out the other side of the duplex. So when it came to renovating the other side, dead animals, um, needles, anything you could think of. But this is a beautiful property built in 1989, and there was no way of knowing. And our contractor, not the contractor, but one of the guys who worked for the contractor, ended up developing some kind of weird bacterial infection when he was renovating, because he touched something dirty. His whole hand swole. It was he couldn't work probably I would say like 3 weeks. They had him on all kind of serious antibiotics, everything. It was a crazy situation. But once it was done, it was absolutely beautiful. It was beautiful.
He didn't sue you for something. Did he sue you?
No.
Right? Okay.
He ended up working with me up until maybe a year ago. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So you renovate, and then
Yep.
how quick did you fill? So you had the studio and the 3 bedrooms.
Right. So we're renting out the studio. We're renting out, okay, so 2,500 for the 3 bedroom. That's what the rent was. And then and then on the studio it was 1,500, right? So basically we're getting 4,000 for that building, which is covering the mortgage, not a problem. And also we're renovating. Once everything got renovated, it might have took about I want to say 90 days. It wasn't that long. So at this time I get a crazy contract from some guys who are pipe fitters at Chevron. So they're like, well, we'll pay up to 3,600. And I'm like, what? So we had pipe fitters on one side and on the other side. And that worked out really, really well. And they were paying 3,600 each. And man, those were the days.
So
it didn't last forever, but it lasted for maybe about 18 months.
hey, you know what? You got to make hay while the sun shines, is what I say.
Right.
Right?
Right. And let
Okay.
me tell you what happened there, which was weird. So they were like, they loved the places. So, and their wives loved the places. And so they were like, we have some other friends who are some single guys. Do you guys have any other place? Well, um, I had a RV, right? Like a big motorhome that was parked because there was some extra lot on the side there, and I was like, well, what do you guys think about an RV or a motorhome, right? And they were like, oh yeah, that'll work. And so then I ended up with more tenants in the RV. So
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, it was pretty
You're
funny.
like making cash. So at this point, how many years from retiring from the school system did it take to replace your income?
Oh, not even like a year?
Oh my
Not even.
gosh.
I
Okay,
know.
wait,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen that are watching, that's not the way it goes usually. All
No.
right? Tell them, Stephanie, that's not the way it
That's
she just
no.
had the angel on her shoulder that
Just
was helping her.
it was just a season to do something different. I had been really obedient with teaching, and what a lot of people don't know, when I was in college, I was offered a full scholarship to become a teacher. And at that time, I had told my counselor, I said, ma'am, I don't think there's anything really glamorous about teaching. I mean, shame on me for being that rude, you know. But what ends up happening 2 years later, I'm teaching vacation Bible school. The light bulb goes off. It's like, you're supposed to be a teacher. I changed my major from business to education, and my teaching career was smooth sailing.
Wow.
Smooth
Okay.
sailing. Yeah.
Okay. So property number 3 after the RV.
Yeah.
Now what?
So we have the RV. That's making good money. The guys are like, they're like, we have
You have
another
more friends.
that's exactly how it was. We have more friends. So that there was still more room. So that became another RV. So there's 2
Did you
RVs on the
buy an
lot.
RV or did you rent an RV?
Bought one, 23,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now you
Yeah.
on the back lot, you have 2 RVs
2
behind the
RVs.
3 bedrooms in the studio.
Yes. Yes.
This is called an additional dwelling unit.
Yes. Yes. So, and that was pretty much easy. Just, put in a water line. I mean, put in, water, gas. So that wasn't hard. I learned new things that I didn't know before, and that worked out really well. So then the next property after that became, let me see. Oh, it was a duplex. So there was a country, I want to call it a farmhouse. That's what you call it, not country, farmhouse. And the way that duplex was situated was it was this way. So horizontal, I guess. So you had a downstairs with 4 bedrooms, pretty big. And you had an upstairs with 4 bedrooms, really, really big. And that became the next one.
How much was
And
that?
that one was, I want to say it was like around 6 and some change.
And how did you finance that one?
Yeah, that was another hard money situation. This is when it starts to get scary.
Yeah.
This is when it really starts to get scary. So now at this point, there's way too much going on. There's 2 hard money loans out there. At first it was feeling really good, but now it's starting to feel a little bit icky, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Right. And so, I did hit the situation of like kind of having my back up against the wall with needing to refi. Right. And what people don't tell you, or what I didn't know at the time, because I was no longer a W-2 employee, refinancing was not as easy. Even though I had a paper trail, even though the money was there, not having the W-2 made refinancing, I don't want to say impossible, because I did it, but it was like at the, last possible stage.
Wow. Yeah, because so that's different. If you were to go try to finance an 8-unit or a 10-unit or a 12-unit, the bankers, the lenders would look at the income stream. But because these were two rooms or 3 rooms, right? That's the difference. But
Yeah.
Okay, so you how many lenders did you go to do the refi?
I want to say 5.
Okay. And so finally you found one that said they would do it.
Finally found one that said they would do it, but it was just like oh my gosh, you know what I mean?
Scary.
It was very scary because it was like, okay, are we going to end up losing this? What's going to happen? Right? Oh, are we in over our head? We moved too fast. I moved too fast. I should have slowed down, that kind of a thing.
So you refied, you paid the first hard money guy, and so now you have a traditional bank, and now you have the new farmhouse with the new hard money guy. And what did you do? What was the plan with the farmhouse? I can't visualize. There's four.
Okay. So let me tell you how we got how I was able to maneuver that situation. Okay, so by this time, renting it, things are going well, and then we're hitting up on, I think 2020 is coming, right? I think we're about to be in COVID, and we get into COVID. So March 20th, I have kids at home. I have a foster daughter in middle school. I have twins who are sophomores in high school, and I have a daughter who's a junior in high school, right? So March 20th, they say March 13th, 2020, they say they're coming home from school. We don't know how long they're going to be home from school. It ends up being really a year and a half that they're home, right? So at first, my disciplined children were wonderful disciplined children, and then that starts to fall apart, starts to unravel quickly, right? Now, the good thing was I had got a realtor's license, because when I saw that things were going kind of sideways, like, am I going to get these things refied? I need to maybe sell a house so that I could get this money, right?
Right.
So in the end of 2019, I got a realtor's license. Hadn't really put it to work yet. 20 that spring 2020 comes. My husband says, these kids, they're around here. They have to help us. They got to do something. And I'm like, what are these kids gonna do? So he comes up with the idea to build behind the farmhouse duplex, 2 units. Okay.
Wow.
And he's like, I know that we could do it. I know we could do it. And we could do it probably for, he's like, we've done this. We could do it. We could do each unit probably for like 20,000.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, and we do. But here's the weird thing about it. The one unit, we had another adult son. He's teaching school as well, but living in Taiwan. So we have an adult son who says, I want to invest in it. And then so that's fine. So basically he pays for one unit, and then the other 4 kids are like, well, can we invest too? So they had little money or whatever. And we're like, sure. So what we made them do is they had to get up every day. They had to be on the job site every day. They had
Amazing.
to help pick materials, all of that, work with the contractors.
What a great experience.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was very cool. So that was 2020.
So did you fill the farmhouse with the pipe fitters?
No pipe fitters at the farmhouse. No, not at all. No.
Okay, so you leased the farmhouse and you leased the 2 units behind. So do you still own the farmhouse?
The farmhouse, yes, the farmhouse.
And is it full?
Yeah, that always stays full. Always.
And have you paid
location.
back the hard money lender guy on that one?
Not paid back the hard money, but refied.
You refied with that person.
Yeah, we refied.
And that
lower rate, is it 6, 7? 7? I think it's 7.
Good.
Yeah.
So do you still rent the 2 RVs behind the other houses?
No.
Did you sell the RVs?
Somebody bought the RVs. Yes. Yeah.
During COVID. Tell me you sold the RVs during COVID when you couldn't get an RV.
No, after COVID. Well after COVID. That's so funny. Yeah, no, well after COVID.
My assistant bought an RV before COVID and sold it during COVID and made a nice little profit.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
So what happened after the farmhouse and building? And where are your kids now? Are they in construction? Are they in college? What is going on with
They're
these
in college.
kids?
So we saw. Actually, there's one that we did sell. The one with the RVs. I'm sorry. The one with the RVs did get sold, but that's because that, and then those funds from that went to buy 19-acre banana plantation
In
Rwanda.
She's an international investor,
Yeah.
ladies and
So
gentlemen.
that's what happened. But the kids are, so there, one is a junior at University of San Francisco, and then the twins, one is a sophomore at St. Mary's, which is in Moraga, and then the other twin is graduating at Santa Rosa JC. So one went JC, and
Amazing.
then the foster daughter, she is back with family in Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're good.
After the farmhouse and after building the 2 units, did you buy any more things after the banana plantation?
Okay, so kind of let things cool down a little bit.
You're like,
settle in, settle down. And then the idea was to actually possibly live part-time here, part-time Rwanda. So we were able to purchase a 3-bedroom home that also has a small home behind it in Rwanda. That, I think that whole purchase was like 60,000,
wow.
which was really great, really, really great. But then that was it. So that purchase of that was in 2021. And then the most recent 2 more purchases since then have been, because remember, I was living in a friend's, right, in that home, right? So I purchased a.
Did they know what you were doing on the side here? These people that you were living rent free for?
Yeah, definitely knew. Definitely was encouraging it. Definitely, yeah. Definitely encouraging it all.
Okay.
So which is good. So then basically what happened, bought a single family residence. But now you have to remember, my mindset is like everything has to be able to pay for itself. So bought the single family residence, closed in, where are we? Closed a year and a half ago, right? In the end of December, I guess that would be 2022.
How much?
That property was actually kind of high. It was 497.
Okay.
But this is a single family residence, right? This is not multi-unit.
Right.
So spent a year paying a mortgage, but not really having anything other than the money from the rentals to offset the cost. So got the idea to try something new. So I purchased a container. I call her CC, cozy container. A container home, and put on that lot. So the container home is now like use Airbnb and to offset the cost of that mortgage. Yeah.
Oh my, do you live in that house?
Yeah, that house I live in.
So you got rid of the freebie and moved into your own that you're paying the mortgage, but now you have a tenant in the container.
Right. And the freebie, there are tenants there. So that was able to bless someone else, bless those people. The tenants there are actually, it's a family who I've used for years for like cleaning. So, yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked before before we got on, where I said I just want to share stories of women investors because there's not many of us, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
try to meet you all, get you to speak up on this stage or any stage I can,
Yes.
so that people can say, if she can do it, I can too, right?
Yes.
So I like to wrap up pretty soon because I want everyone to go have dinner. I know you're in California, so you're 4:30.
Yes.
But what one piece of advice would you have for someone who hasn't done it yet, is thinking of doing it, but is scared?
I would say definitely start looking, get in the car, start driving, get a feel for neighborhoods, get a feel for what type of unit you're interested in. Be clear. Is it a single family residence that you want to rent out for extra income? Because you want to be of service and help families that are in need, or is it a duplex that possibly you want to be able to live in one unit and rent out the other, offset some of the costs, right? So get clear about what type of unit. Maybe you just have a little plot of land and you can build, there's all different kinds of ways to build additional dwelling units today, right? I talked about the container for me, but there could be other things, right?
RVs.
Yep, RVs make lots of money, right?
What
Yeah.
is your goal? Because I'm going to give you one if you don't have one. But what
What
is your goal for the next 2 to 3 years? I mean, I think so you're staying in California. You're not going to Rwanda.
Right. That's right.
So what, because, I want you to be doing 10 and 20 units now.
Yeah. So that I was thinking, in a way, so I'm kind of a little hippie-ish, So I was thinking, oh, I should get some land and I should put multiple units on the land and kind of have like a little compound and rent those out because, I'm a little bit older. And one thing that I'm finding is that there are a lot of women who have been scared to make financial choices. And so they're coming into their 50s and 60s and they don't have enough money to really live how they should be living. They can't afford it. And they're having to move out of their homes or moving out of the places where they're staying, don't want to burden their families. So I was thinking if I had some, maybe 600 square foot units, right? And maybe 4 or 5 of them together on a plot of land, that could be a safe haven for them. They could afford it. And I'd be providing a service as well. So,
okay. So Dr. Erin Hudson,
okay.
Erin, Erin Hudson, Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
She has done this. She put containers on a piece of land in Texas on a lake. Now she's doing it for like retreats, but it's the same idea. They're little mini. And if you go to her site on Instagram and look her up and look at the containers, they're beautiful little mini. This is what you could do. You could find a plot of land. You've already done the container thing once.
Yep.
And she spoke at my conference in March, super open. You could call her up and say, I was on Beth's Women Investor Tuesday, and she mentioned, and this is something I want to do to help women there's women in those situations.
Absolutely.
So I think she has, I want to say like 21 of them. And you guys have so much in common. She has 5 kids and all of her kids have worked, built, and invested in the stuff she's doing.
Yep.
You definitely need to connect with her because I think you have a lot in common.
Okay, great.
But so you don't want to do a 8-unit, 12-unit apartment complex?
It has not been on my radar. The thing that has been coming up more so is the land and multiple units on the land. But I'm definitely open. And the good thing is when you talk to other people, right? Iron sharpens iron. So, you may see something that I don't see, and then it helps me to move along with my progress.
Well, what I see is a woman that has done multiple projects, but onesies and twosies.
Yes.
And what I find with women, I have a friend who I've invested with in Miami where she had a 4-unit, an 8-unit, a 4-unit, an 8-unit. And I said, Natasha, it's all the same work. Go get a 20-unit, right? I said, she was speaking on my stage a couple of years ago. And I said, how many units do you have? And she said, 42. And I said, great. What's your goal? And she goes, 50? I'm like, 50? Your goal needs to be 100. And she's like, okay. And then a year later, she's in the audience. And I said, who remembers Natasha last year, the goal I put out for her? And someone yelled out, 100 units. I said, Natasha, stand up and tell everyone. And she was like at 98.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's the same amount of work. So what I'm seeing with you is it's all the same. And if you found an 8-unit or a 12-unit in this market neighborhood that you know so well, you can serve a lot of families. And then if you had 12 units and you needed to help 2 families that really needed it, you could offset with the other 10 units.
Yeah.
And a lender is going to lend on the real estate. They're not going to care that you don't have a W-2.
Okay. Got it.
So just keep your eyes open. And I love the container idea for women. I love that on a piece of land, but don't discount when you're now, it's 4 o'clock in the morning when you're on Zillow looking for the 8-unit or 12-unit apartment complex.
Got you. Got it. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure having you, Stephanie.
Likewise. Thank you so much for the invite and having me. It's been great.
Thank you for being on Women Investor Tuesday. And then if anyone needs to get in touch with you or would like to reach out to you,
excuse me.
What's the best way?
The best way, they can reach me by email, which is stephanied.clark@kw.com.
One second, stephanied.clark@kw.com. Stephanie.
Excuse me.
stephanied.clark@kw.com. Yeah?
That's it. Exactly.
I put it in the chat.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. And, keep being a blessing to many people.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.